fabulous or what? What's going on? When are
No,
we
you look fabulous. Did I catch you a little too soon?
Well, never
What time
too.
is it? Oh no, it's 2:45. Where you're behind schedule. I'm right on time. Do you need another few minutes to get to?
Okay. Is that a question?
This is, this isn't prime time, so this is fine. It's so nice to see you.
Oh my gosh, Larry, first, okay. This is the show me, and now this is the, oh my God, Larry! It's
Yes.
so
Wait a
fast.
second. I just want to make sure I'm talking. Oh, Allie, it is you. I just want to make sure we're talking to the right people today because sometimes I get my notes mixed up. Who's the guest? Allie, I am speaking with Allie Mang, Allison Mang, and you don't mind Allie, right? People call you Allie.
Oh yeah, that's
Yeah.
what people call me.
That's
Although
what
interestingly enough, back in high school, everyone called me A Mang. It was always A Mang. It
Hey,
was
Mang. Hey, Mang, how you doing?
yeah, so that's it. Hey Mang, what are you doing?
Hey, Mang, how you doing? Allie, you and I met years ago at the shopping channel, and it was friends at first sight. As soon as I saw you, what I really appreciated, you were the brand ambassador for Home Suite products, right? And first of all, tell people what Home Suite was, and I'm sure most people do know, but go ahead.
So I had the pleasure of launching it actually back with Gerda Tinty, who was the category manager of soft goods home sales. I launched it. Oh my God, somebody's at the door. Is this Mr. Rogers' neighbor?
Go ahead. Let's go see who it is. We will wait.
Just a minute.
Yeah,
this is not a bit. I'm telling you.
I've got Skip the Dishes coming any moment too. So yeah.
Okay.
We're talking with Allie Mang, and she just went to go see who's at the door. I met Allie Mang at the shopping channel years ago. She was representing, she was the brand ambassador for Home Suite products. And she's my guest today on ShowTalk. And this is going to be a treat. She's written 2 books. She did actress work back in the 80s, late 80s. And what was some of the movies she was in? My Secret Identity back in 1988. Alfred Hitchcock Presents, 1985. Friday the 13th, the series in 1987. So I am honored to have Allie Mang here with me today, or she will be with me today any minute. And again, this isn't prime time. Otherwise, here she is. Look, there she is. Do you have to take this call, or do you want me to call you back?
Don't you hate it? Like you go into a store and you're ready to buy. You've got your cash in one hand and the product you're going to buy. And then all of a sudden the sales rep goes, oh, just a minute, and grabs the phone. Yes. Well, no, our store hours are.
Yes.
Like, excuse me.
Yeah,
I'm here.
That's right. Well, what bothers me more, I think, now that we're on that subject, is it seems like forever the person in front of me always needs a price check on what they're getting, or they're arguing over 10 cents because no, it said $1.99, right? And don't you feel like just throwing them a dime and saying, here, but it's not, it's the principle, of course.
It is. And so I broke my number one principle, and that is to leave and appear to be rude. My apologies for that. But I got to tell you, Larry.
This isn't the shopping channel. It's okay. Anything goes on my show. We have no rules, as a matter of fact. So I am not even going to edit that out, I don't believe.
I am so glad. Now, I don't know what you said about me. Oftentimes, that's the key. When they leave the room, what are people saying about
That's
you?
right. Well, you will have to tune in later to find that out. And so, Allie, we met at the shopping channel. You were in the middle of talking about Home Suite products. Go ahead.
Yes. Well, you know what? Really believe it was wonderful. It was a launch. I had the pleasure of selling it with the team at the shopping channel, who were incredible. Every single one of them. And Larry, you know that as well.
Yes.
Oh my gosh. A
Love
big
them.
shout out to all of our friends. And for 4 consecutive years, starting in the year 2007, we, with our team, were able to achieve some of their highest sales in history in soft goods. Now, I bring that up because you and I both know that it takes a team to succeed no matter what you're doing.
Whether it's a village, right.
Getting up in the morning, sometimes it's the team.
Yes.
And I think sometimes, especially with COVID, boy, have we ever felt so isolated, whether or not we're still standing beside each other or not. It's been an isolating time. Anyway, that's my weird old segue to just tell you this. It was a life-changing experience. I wrote my first book, which hopefully we'll talk about, because you inspired me so much. Because I've called you this anytime says, "Who's Larry?"
Yes.
I'll say, you know what? He is one of the best, like the top two best pitchmen in the world. Never mind about Canada.
Oh, well, thank you. Normally I only give 20 minutes, but in this case, since you have accolades, I'll give you an extra 10 minutes. So you feel free to say anything about me that you want.
Okay, that's only worth 10 minutes. All right, call my agent. What's going on here?
I said an extra 10 minutes. Okay. Yeah.
Okay, now we're what? Have I banked up to 50 minutes already? This is
No, I don't think. Well, you were gone for it seemed forever. Getting the door. Who was that at the door?
I don't know.
You don't know. Okay.
I believe she was asking me to buy Bibles or something. God love her, wonderful, but you know.
I'm glad that's interesting. They still do that door to door, you know.
Interestingly enough, I brought her my book and I said, well, look, I'll buy your book, you buy mine. And apparently she shut the door on me. So
that's right. Excellent. Allie, let's talk about your first book, and then we'll talk about your second book later. But your first book, Selling Out. What a great book. And what I enjoyed about your work on the shopping channel, when you were doing the home suite products, I loved when you used fruit to compare the colors. Because sometimes on TV, your color may be different. Peach may not be peach on your TV, right? Because of everybody's TV is different. So your comparison that it was like a peach or a soft grape or whatever it was, I always loved that analogy because it gave not just a visual, but all of a sudden the bed sheets and the duvets, they tasted good as well, you know? So you put a real citrus aspect on that product, which I thought was genius. That was very good.
Oh, Larry, thank you. Coming from you, it just means so much. And over the years, you have sent me notes and posts and little way to go, Allie, we love you. And just such specific things. I so appreciate that. You know, selling on air, as you well know, is a show and tell world.
Yeah.
So if you can't show I always think if the sound were turned off, will you get the same message that I intend you to get?
Yes.
And, you know, that's a perfect example. Certainly in my category, which was decor, you know, even if I go and I talk about this, you know, slate gray, well, it may look like blue on your television.
Yes.
Set. So then I often would get anything cooking or things that people could relate to. So for the slate gray, I often used a baking pan and I'd bring it in and I'd show it.
Yes.
So that you could see the relation very quickly. I mean, we want to relate to what people are saying, no matter what we're doing. Don't you think?
Absolutely. Not to mention, I think using your hand movements, you know, it's almost like acting or theater. If there's people in the back row that can't necessarily see your lips moving and maybe they don't have that. If I was to go, it's raining, that all of a sudden makes rain more visual as well as auditory.
Yes, 110%. And, you know, I find that, not that we were going to necessarily, but I knew that we would go all over the place. The people, I can pick junior salespeople on camera or people who are on camera when they sell to the 1 sense. What we do is sell to the 5 senses.
Yes.
We do it in a second. So what we do when we're at home, when people go, oh my gosh, I can't believe, you know, how long does it take them to prep? It takes us as long as it does to find meaningful ways to connect 5 senses.
Yes.
What I believe to be my 7 main category customers.
Yes.
So that's all I spend time with. You know,
yes.
What's going to appeal to the gentlemen who have an incredible interior design business? You know, what's going to appeal to them and the university student? Because I have to catch them at the same time. What's going to appeal to both of them? And so that's what you and I do. I mean, you know, you've got so many different products than I'm selling dreams. You're selling dreams. Isn't that the truth?
It's both. It's, you know, listen, whether it's trying to make life easier in the kitchen or you know, I think it's all about really showing the advantage, trying to stay away from, I think, a lot of the technical stuff about a product. Like like stitch count and stuff like that. That's not really interesting, or thread count rather. And that's not as interesting as how it feels and how it looks. And I mean, that again, it goes back to making things feel. So whether it's an upside down umbrella, a cheese grater, a mandolin, or a knife sharpener, how is this going to change my life? How is this going to change my knife? It's like, you're really trying to gain it's almost like 12 people at a bus stop. You take people at random, 12 people at a bus stop. Will they buy this product, or how do I sell the 12 people at a bus stop this product? Because they're all going to come from all different walks of life. So you need common ground to get to all 12 different personalities, because you don't want to lose out on even one.
That's the point. But you know what? I'd love to just add this in. My team of 2 who own that design firm, thread cut may not be their first interest, but they're going to want to know that at some point.
Sure.
So one thing that I love about what you do, and what I try to do as much as I will bring it out and do sort of worldwide. The world, 50% of the world, their favorite color is, and then everyone says whatever the color, and I said it's blue. Why? Because we relate to that color more than anything else. Yeah. You know what the second most favorite color in the world is?
Red.
It could be red, because at the moment, maybe COVID, we're all like, whatever. It's green for the same reason, because we relate to it.
Okay, blue sky and green grass. Yes.
Yeah. So, and of course, there's variations of all those colors, but that's the point. So that takes it right back to, well, how do I sell a product? Well, figure out, as you just said, the common ground, relate them to something, and then fill it in with as much information, by entertaining them, by surprising them, by, all of those things, by keeping it sincere as well.
I think only you could get me interested in bed sheets to begin with. And I don't mean that in that way. I mean,
yes, I knew you didn't.
No, but I mean, the product category isn't one of my interests, duvets and bed sheets. But I used to watch you because, again, I enjoyed how you sold it. It captured my interest. So that's what I'm talking about. If you've got, for me, a not so interesting product, no offense to a duvet, but you get me to watch it longer than 30 seconds, you're good.
Oh, well, thank you. And I take that from literally the best pitchman in the world. And I know you would talk about Mark Gill, sells at HSN, a Saskatchewan boy.
Yes.
He and you, to me, are the best in the world. And I'm just so thrilled to be here.
Well, I appreciate you saying that.
Oh my gosh, absolutely. Okay, I'm going to just do one quick button on sold out. So this was the first book I wrote, Sold Out.
Yes, please.
Larry sent me this amazing picture of him in his office with this book at the back. And I think it was a book written by Joan Rivers, or was it her movie?
Yeah, it was from a book written from her.
There you go.
Yes.
So let me just do this. So I'm gonna tell you.
Oh, look at that! Wow.
But this was signed by Joan Rivers, 2000.
Oh, wow, what a keeper!
I know, total keeper, 2004.
Wow.
Rather, and I gave her a book, and because I feature her in this book as probably the queen of infotainment.
Yes.
Knew how to surprise and to engage and to make people laugh. And you tuned in because you never knew what was going to happen.
That's right. You never knew what she was going to say.
And it was all interesting. Anyway, she
in fact, anybody else who said what she said would have been kicked off the shopping channel. But from Joan, she was her own Hayes office. She had carte blanche.
But she tied it all to her generosity and her authenticity. And this is an example of that. I gave her the book.
Yes.
And she received it because I knew she did. And she took it upon herself to go and buy my book and left it for me. And I think I was returning the next week. And so her makeup artist said, hey, by the way, Joan left you a book. And I thought it was the book I gave her, and it wasn't. It was a new book.
Wow.
And the reason why I know that is I wrote a note to her on this side of my book. Wow. And so she had a sticky on this side and said, by the way, darling, when you write a book, please write it on your name.
That's funny. And she would know.
You would know. So this was her note to me. To Allie, how smart to have written this. I wish you all the luck in the world, except in jewelry. I'll cut you, you bitch.
Oh, that's so funny.
Much love and luck. And then in quotes, seriously, Joan Rivers. This was a week before she died.
Wow. Wow.
And I bring that up because it's a great story.
It's
But
a great story.
it's a wonderful segue to what I know we're going to talk about next. And I want to talk about next is you never know what's going to happen this next moment.
No.
So make every moment count.
You know, yes, your new book, because I'm going to segue into that. Your new book is, tell us the name of that one.
Yeah, it's Finding the Light.
Yes.
How we transformed our fears into renewed hope during the pandemic.
And what inspired you to write this book?
Well, we could sit here all day, but I will tell you exactly. In 2019, I share a story, as most people, many people do, but I was actually moving to the United States. At least I was taking my business there. I was already signed up for a P1. I had some contracts. It was all set to go. And of course, my business was entertainment and representing music acts and taking them to the States and just wowing audience members, which we did, because as Canadian talent, we have a lot, as you well know. Not that there's anything wrong. There's a lot of American talent as well, but there's something about what Canadians bring, and so many audiences love it south of the border, and it's a thrill. And of course, that came crashing down along with so many other businesses, and the entertainment business has definitely taken its hits. And when I say entertainment, we talk trade shows as well as everything else, Larry, and you know all about that. So I was under the covers for a good couple of weeks until a girlfriend called me and said, Allie, you've been under the covers 2 weeks. You got to do something else. You just have to change. You got to do something else. And I said, well, okay. You know what I'd like to do? I'd like to talk to other people, how they're dealing with their fears, how they're dealing with it. And this was back a year ago. We started April 19th, and we interviewed all of the dear people in my life that over the years have inspired me, have helped me, have been there for me, and have ran way past me. And I'm just watching them and cheering for them. So it was a bit of a selfish maneuver in the first place, but to say thank you to them all and to acknowledge their participation in my life. And it turned into an amazing experience. And Larry, you know that you were the first person I called.
Wow. I didn't know.
This book.
Wow.
And I know that it was, it was emotional for all of us. And none of us, I think every interview we had, we did them on Zoom. And then I, with a team of 2 other writers, we transcribed the interviews. Sometimes we had to deal with 22,000 words, bringing it down to about a 600-word essay. Imagine that. Anyway, it was a wonderful thing. And my funds of any of the sales that we made, which were plenty, and I'm so grateful, we donated to Lighthouse for grieving children.
That's so nice. Yeah.
Yeah.
What a great cause.
So, it was a great cause.
I find, because you're such a positive person, and again, we're naturally attracted to happy people, and we tend to shy away from people with depression and sadness when we really shouldn't. We should embrace them as well. But naturally, we love happy people. I do find, though, that people like yourself that are helping people become positive and taking negatives and turning positive, or even people that get involved in cancer and breast cancer research and Mothers Against Drunk Driving. The reason they're doing it is because it came from a dark place, or it came from a bad experience. Would you say your book came from any bad experience?
No question about it. I mean, I'll answer that question in a moment, but I will use the power of relating.
Okay.
If you've ever known comedians who you just love, and then you all of a sudden see them take on very serious acting roles, you said, oh my God, how did they do that?
Yes.
Where do you think the comedy came from?
Tragedy.
Exactly, right? And that, of course, is the sign of theater. It's comedy and tragedy tonight, right? And love and hate. I mean, they are just polarities, but they're right next to each other. Passion, and I mean, it's just so. Just like in design, I mean, this pillow is kind of a perfect example. This dress is a good example as well. The reason why this type of pillow works is because you've got the light and the dark. It's interesting.
Yeah.
It makes a point. Same thing with this dress. Dark, very sharp, and then you've got the light underneath it.
Yes.
And so things pinpoints. It's like eyeshadow, for gosh sakes. If I'm going to do eyeliner, I'm going to contour some dark and some light in so that things stick out more. The principle can be applied to anything. Polarity of life, that's what makes life interesting. It is a gray world. It is not a black and white world. So to answer your question, yes. And it actually came from my third book called My Force of Life. And honest to gosh, I've actually taken these off the market. I wanted to rework them. So I'm not selling, Larry, I'm going to tell you. But I wrote it. It's My Force of Life, how to live through the loss of a loved one. And I lost my mom in 1999. And this book took me 17 years to write.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
And the reason for that is because it's really hard to deal with your grieving self. Because it's scary and, you know, you're vulnerable and it's really hard to come out of that world. And then in 2006, I lost my sister to suicide.
Oh my God.
So my connection with my fourth book, Finding the Light, and our funds going towards Lighthouse for grieving children and their families helped my niece, my sister's daughter, get through the grieving process of losing her mom at the age of 13.
Yes.
And that was my connection. So, you know, I think as we grow, I think the main thing for me to answer that is we're given these challenges and it's not easy.
No.
But at some point, there's two choices. So what choice are you going to make?
Yes.
Hopefully we make the choice that allows us to.
I'm at the age now where I've a lot of friends have passed away as well. I've lost both my mom and dad, as well as friends get divorced, you know, that have been together for years. And, you know, we all grieve in different ways. And sometimes people don't grieve right away. You know, like sometimes people can have an event like yourself that happened 13, 17 years ago that you never actually came to grips with.
Yes.
Or you never came to terms with. And it builds and it keeps you're going to put your glasses on now?
Of course.
Yes.
Who are you again? Well, they're a different set, by the way.
I want to make sure.
Did you notice that? Wait a minute. Well, let's take our commercial break. There's one. What do we think of these?
Oh, yes. Yeah, that's very good.
See, this is how we sell, right? We just like make it our thing.
That's right. And we go from something very tragic to, I mean, we are so bipolar. It's not even funny. You know, it's,
yeah, but
I like to call mine attention doodad disorder. That's what you know.
I love it.
My favorite product, because we're totally off topic now, which is great. Because I think we touched on that enough for a moment. We got
to bring it back up. That's what John Rivers did.
We're going to bring it back up again. We'll segue back into it. But I had, you know, my new love could be an upside down umbrella. And that is the most important product I have until the next one comes along. And all of a sudden that umbrella, it goes over there and it's like, yes, grating cheese. That's what it's all about, you know? And
there's no question about it.
Because I'm just trying to make people's life great again, you know?
Oh, you know what? We got to write these down. Now, was that pun intended? Because you, in the last minute, you did 3 amazing things. Do you know how you did
Thank you. Well, the last one was, I've used it before, and the other 2, I don't remember what I said.
Well, you pretty much stuck in the name of your show, or at least the name of your business, Doodad, which is awesome. That's like when they say, recently, I know Queen Latifah is doing a show. God love her. We love her, but not really the greatest. But I think the ad, every time I see it, is one man says, "How did you get your name?" And she looks and she said, "Well, I was in Afghanistan."
Okay, that's enough laughter. Allie, let's go back to tragedy.
Punchline. No, we need the punchline. punchline. Sorry, I'm taking a timing. That's one
Go
thing.
ahead. Dude, I'm sorry, I didn't know. I thought it was over. I thought that was the dramatic close. You took off the glasses.
Okay, let's try this again. So
Good.
then she says, they call me the equalizer. And it's like, so you managed to put in, you know, the name of your show and your company, and then of course the great. I mean, there's a double entendre. There's a lot going on. Anyway, may I just do a final button, because apparently I'm the star of this show.
Yeah, no, you are. Please carry on. It's Allie, right?
This is to talk really, to just sort of bring in what we did. We talked about some pretty dark stuff. And I don't like making light of it, but you know what? It's important to find the light within the dark. And I think that even in incremental steps, it is all we can do sometimes. And it's been a very, very, very difficult year and now a half, and we're doing it. But this is a quote, one of my favorites. It's by Thomas Huxley. The rung of a ladder was never meant to rest upon, but only to hold a man's foot long enough to enable him to put the other somewhat higher.
Wow. What, did you write that?
No, that's Thomas Huxley.
Oh, okay, because that's beautiful.
Yeah, and it does talk about, you know, that's what the tough times are about, and somewhat higher. I love that he shows it. Anyway, let us move on. Let's go to, what do you want to talk about now? Oh, can I tell you though how great your essay was? We wrote it back and forth together, and that's how we did it. And I was so proud of you, and I was so proud to have you in my Finding the Light. And it really was a collective of the most.
We had to do some editing with mine because that was kind of at a, because I know what you were looking for, but if you remember, it was hard for me to give you what you were looking for at that time in my life. And so we had to do some editing, and I appreciate that. That was the only condition that I had is, you know, you may not want to use everything, you know, because I think one of your questions was about did I feel, you know, COVID was bringing people together. And I went off, I remember, in some tangent that I was so, you know, embarrassed about later, about people littering masks all over and people spitting at each other. And I chose to pick the dark side of COVID. And I know that wasn't what you were looking for. You were looking for, you know, finding the light, you know.
You know what, though? You find the light by moving through the darkness. And never mind moving through. It's nice. You got to sit in it. I mean, there were so many great books about all of that, and people too who are just inspirations. I want to.
70 people?
Pardon?
Was it 70 people you interviewed?
We ended up with 85 people.
Wow.
And I also asked, I believe there was, I'm going to say we highlighted 35 photographers, 7 of whom are also professional photographers that I featured in the book. And by the way, I mean, I don't want to plug this, but we're raising funds for that charity that continues.
Yes, no, plug away.
To findingthelight.ca, and you can look at a sample of it, and it is glorious. The only reason, Larry, why I didn't print it was because of the photography and everything else. It would have been an exorbitant amount of money to print.
But this is available as an ebook, is that correct?
Correct. Thank you. And it is so gorgeous. And you know what? It's timely. What I wanted it to be is a time capsule. I know that right now, a lot of people are like, the last thing I want to hear about is this pandemic and whatever. And a lot of countries and communities are moving forward. Some are, you know, forward, some are back, whatever, but it will be a time capsule. And that was really why. And I'm keeping that site there. We then tagged on a really fun 50K where we went back to the community and expanded, and we got everybody from January 1st, and the deadline was mid-March, walk, run, cycle up to 50K. You can do it 1K a day, whatever. And that was really fun. And I think it's all about progression, right? And that, you know, to me, that's what the darkness is for us to, and then just gently, or as Thomas Huxley says, somewhat higher, just gently move through. But I want to share something with you, because it was so exciting to have you as part of the book, Larry. And I know you and I were back and forth, and you were so, everybody was so ready to be vulnerable, and we created that space. But I didn't want somebody to come out with Pollyanna. I wanted to talk about human, what we're going through. And this was somebody, you were the first person that I called, and this gentleman was the last person. His name is Donald Joe, and he just texted this to me like minutes before the door. So I want to share this with you because this is, to me, the power of what you're doing with your show. You are creating community. You're allowing humans to see how other humans are doing their lives. And, you know, you said to me, I don't really want to talk about sales and how great or how poor or whatever. It's not about that. It's about human connection and generosity and authenticity. And that's what, you know, that's what we do. And this was the message I got from this gentleman. He was the last person I interviewed, and he's also the last in the book. Thank you for all you've done to help remind me of my authentic self. Your project, Finding the Light, has really changed my life. And there it is. So,
Wow. That's, wow. Timely, you know?
yeah, it's lovely. Anyway, it's nice, and it's wonderful to be able to do that and to also give back and giving of ourselves.
Yes.
What's next?
Let's see. We've talked about cheese graters. My life.
Good. Okay. What else? Up, down, upside down umbrellas. Yeah.
That's really it for me. My contribution to mankind. You know. Which...
I'm going to do this then. So, you may know this or not about me, but during COVID, I decided, because most of us girls love dressing up and such, but COVID hasn't really allowed us to do that.
No.
And so recently I decided, you know what? I'm just going to get in my gowns anyway. No makeup, no fuss, no, just throw it on and just go. I think it was a series called Glam Anyway, you know? And so today what I did was I wore the fabulous.
Look at. Have they ever been worn out of the house this year?
Well, no, they haven't actually.
I didn't think so.
Although I have to say, I mean, are you going to scuff that up?
No, that's why I asked that. That looks like it's only been on carpet, you know?
The funny thing is I didn't buy these, and yes, they're way too expensive. I could never afford them. But a friend of mine who cannot wear heels anymore, and COVID did her in. She said, Allie, what size are you? And I said, I'm size 9. She went, oh my God, I'm going to send you these shoes. And I said, okay, thank you, but I can't afford them. And she said, I'm giving them to you because I can't wear them anymore.
Yes.
So here's the thing though, Larry. I mean, you might, so I didn't know what shoe to bring. So do I go classic pump with
so you went one on each side. I like it. Now, are the earrings the same, or did you do that as well?
Well, no, again, this is about glam. You know, if you're going to go for a fabulous.
Okay. Yes. It's where you want it. Yes.
You know, and then the décolleté, and then you don't, right?
So I have so much to learn about you guys. I really do.
Oh, it's exhausting. My mother used to say, darling, after 40, it's all maintenance. And I haven't reached that, but I don't know. I guess I'll find that out at some point. I don't know what she's talking about.
Well, I don't know when the world's going to open up again, because it's, I know in the entertainment business, you know, for people like us in the people business, we were the first out and we will be the last back in again. So, you know, we're just, I think all of us people are just, I don't know what we're doing. I mean, it's so nice to be able to do stuff like this. Right?
Oh my gosh, I applaud you so much for doing this. And I know that I remember the first time we did our Zoom together, you know, we kind of coached each other through it. And now look at you. I'm so proud of you.
Oh, thanks.
I love this.
Yeah.
You know, because you are one of the leaders in this industry. When we mention Doodad anywhere in the world, people in our industry know you. They know the brand. It's exciting. And, you know, hats off to you, because anybody in the entrepreneurial world knows how hard it is to get brand recognition. And you've got it, and you continue it. And so when you get out into the public eye like this, and we get to see you authentically and just kind of being the you who we love.
Yes.
There's something heartwarming, and you know, it's all really about community. That's exactly what I'm interested more than anything as I move forward into, my entrepreneurial endeavors.
Well,
It's
I listen, I think the fact that what you do with your books and what you do with your motivation, and I mean, I don't know if you're a life coach per se, but you are a life coach to many people. I know you are, and you're an inspiration to me. And I really, when I first, my first show talk ever, it was done kind of as a joke at a show. It was just a whim, and I just did it with this guy Bobby King and Steve Smith, and we just sort of did it, and it wasn't even called Show Talk. It was called Simply Straight, and which was the hairbrush, and I used the hairbrush as the microphone, and I interviewed Steve Smith, and I asked Steve, where do you get all the hair from for your sweeper demonstration? And we just winged it, and it was so much fun that I thought one day I'm going to do a show called Show Talk. And the moment that Show Talk came to mind, I knew you and I would be doing this because you are one of the most positive people. I love that you share your positivity with people. You've got a spark to you that I really appreciate. And we are going to do this again soon. And it could be on your next book. It could be on your next adventure, whatever it is. So you and I will always keep in touch, and we're going to talk again very soon.
I will love that, and I look forward to that. Are we closing it down? Is
that the wrap up? Which one is it? Is it this?
Well, that's crazy, but it can also be wrapped. It depends on, let's wrap it up, kids. Yes. Because you know what? The next time we talk, I want to talk about the new product that I am developing with a group.
Oh, no. Listen, again, this is not prime time. I've got no sponsors and I got no show after this. There's no time like the future. Please tell me about it. Tell me about it. Seriously.
Well, I'm thinking I just want to tease you because.
No, you can tease me all you want, but don't do this to my adoring public. Okay? You tell them.
Now, I'm going to give you this.
Okay.
A lot of people, I love wine. I've been exposed to some of the most glorious wines throughout the world. But what I did find in COVID, and only some people will be able to relate to this, but I became quite menopausal and all of the stuff that goes on with that. And it was it was a tough time last year. So I found that alcohol was just less and less easy for my body to deal with, particularly the next day, just the hangover, things that I never had any issues with. So fast forward, a gentleman that reached out to me many, many years ago to be a brand ambassador of a non-alcoholic drink that he was the first to bring to North America. He had asked Gene Simmons to be the brand ambassador, and Gene Simmons said no. I mean,
because he's a non-drinker, isn't he, Gene Simmons?
Yes, he's never drank a day in his life.
No kidding. Wow.
Oh, interesting. Isn't it? Talk about polarities, right?
Yeah.
Anyway, so then I got the call. So I'm thinking Gene Simmons, Mang. All right, I'll take it.
You're in great company. Yes.
Anyway, it didn't work, but it was one of the great examples of keeping the door open, never burning a bridge. And so just a few months ago, he came back to me. He is facing terminal cancer. And he said, Ali, I have one more brand that I would love to see come to market. And it is a product called Nada, which is a non-alcoholic wine that he wanted to develop and just never had the time. He has been one of the leaders in non-alcoholic beer and spirits and sparklings. And Nada, he wanted to make something that was just level up and elevated. So he brought it to me, and we've been at it not very long, but we've got a winemaker involved. We're going to make.
That's so exciting. Yeah. And it's Nada, N-A-D-A, like Nada?
Nada. What can I say? It's Nada.
I love it. So that's your new venture.
Yes, and I'm very excited about it, and I cannot wait because there's so many people who choose not to drink or drink less, and they like that, but they'd still love to have something over, of sparkling water. They would love to still not stand out.
Yes.
And And you know, non-alcoholic beer is wonderful, but if we can come up with, which we are coming up with, you know, the mouth, the feel of a wine,
Yes.
all of the great things that pairs well with beautiful meals, which is one of the many reasons why we love wine, but without the hangover, it's kind of the best of
I
both.
think it's great, you know, and I haven't, you know, I have the odd glass of wine. I haven't really been drinking much lately, but it reminds me of one of my favorite lines. An old friend once said when the doctor told him he had to quit drinking alcohol, and he was sitting at a table with all of us, and we were all drinking except for him. And after about a half an hour, he looked at us, and with this very deep, low baritone voice, he went, "Ever since I quit drinking, you guys aren't half as funny as I thought you were." And isn't that so true?
Yeah, it's like when you put the glasses, I was like, oh my God, just add it.
So, Allie, we're going to wrap this up now. It is.
I know. I heard it.
I know, but I mean it this time.
I know.
Okay. So really nice to see you. Let's keep in touch, and we'll talk again.
Larry, I love you. Thank you so very much.
Love you too.
You.
Thank you. See you later.